Hello, my name is Rob Adams. I'm one of the surgeons at Davies Veterinary Specialists. You may have heard a little while ago about Finn, a police dog who in October 2016 got involved in an incident involving a very large knife. As a practice here, we first heard about the incident during the evening. It was around about 4-5 o'clock in the morning, and one of my colleagues, Ronan Doyle, took the call, and it was from a referring practice who were struggling to manage. The dog had come in to them with an injury to his chest, and he was struggling significantly to breathe. He was rushed under the Blues and Twos straight to Davies, where my colleague Ronan saw him in. At this stage it was around about 5 o'clock in the morning, and he was taken straight into our intensive care unit, where he was immediately assessed. We took some x-rays and saw there was quite a large amount of air stuck in his chest. So in order to make him be able to breathe, we placed a chest drain directly into his chest, which allowed us to drain, or Ronan to drain the chest overnight. So, having placed the chest drain and drained a lot of the air that had been leaking around the skin and bubbling up underneath his actual skin, he was able to breathe quite normally. His wounds were able to be stabilised, and he was moved to our intensive care unit, where he was cared for by one of our nurses. That stage, however, the chest drain was producing a lot of air, so we were having to empty it all the time. It was just producing air after air after air, so there wasn't any seal. So the problem with that is there was a significant leak in his lungs still. So by the time I came in that morning for work, my colleague Ronan had been desperately working very hard with Finn for that early hours of the morning, and it was that stage we realised that we were going to need to do something more. That leak was something significant in his chest. The knife would have hit something pretty big, probably one of his lungs, that was causing this constant leak of air. So we knew that we were going to have to do some sort of surgery to explore his chest. And it was that stage I met PC David Wardle, and Ronan handed Finn's case over to me, and I spoke with PC Wardle about the next stages with regards to where we went on, and talked about the surgery and the exploration that was going to be required. We pushed pretty much straight on that morning, straight into investigations which required a full anaesthetic, and at that stage we got our anaesthetists involved to help with that, particularly when you're doing a lot of chest surgery, concerns with the air in the lungs and the potential for anaesthesia to make things worse. So he was quite heavily monitored during that, and we went on from there to open up his wounds and clip him up and have a good look at what was going on. And there was quite obviously a very large tear in his abdominal wall, quite far back down along his ribs, where there was a defect in the wall, likely where the knife had gone in. The actual wound itself was very small and up near his armpit. In terms of the surgery, we weren't sure exactly what we were going to need to do, but we thought we might have to split his whole chest open to get in there. We were lucky that we didn't have to do that. We did open up his chest from the side and part his ribs, and able to explore the entire length of the wound. We found 2 of his lung lobes to be leaking air, and a through and through wound straight through the lung lobes themselves. They were, thankfully, towards the outskirts of his lung, and we were therefore able to remove the very tips of 2 of the lung lobes on one side. The knife would have passed very, very close to his heart. We saw his heart during surgery. Thankfully, there was not damaged in any way, but that knife would have been within an inch or so of his heart. So it was a very near thing, I think, for Finn. He's a very, very lucky dog. Had it been any other rib, anything a little bit further, it would have been too much, and he would have not made it even as far as us. However, we took out the lungs, everything seemed well. We cleaned up the rest of the wounds and sealed his chest, reconstructed the chest wall, and closed him up. And after a surgery like that, a really big surgery, it took us 3, maybe 4 hours in total in order to get him back to bed. And you know, he had a rocky night that night, but he recovered well. And amazingly, the next day he was up on his feet. And I think any other dog you would have expected to have taken a lot longer to recover from that. But I think it just gave an indication of just quite how much get up and go this dog has. And amazing to see him get up the following morning and just want to go. He's had open chest surgery. We've removed some of his lungs, and he's up. He's walking about. And when PC Wardle came in with his wife and saw Finn, able to take him out on the grass and see that actually he was doing okay. He was up and he was about. It was amazing to see for all of us, for everyone involved in the case. And that level of improvement continued. It was day by day that he made fantastic improvements. He remained bright. The great thing was he didn't produce any more air into his chest, so we were able to remove the chest drain relatively quickly. Chest drains themselves tend to be quite sore, so he was again a lot more comfortable when that was removed. And within 3 days, he was able to go home. And it was pretty much bed rest for him for the next sort of couple of weeks. And I then went and visited Finn and took out his sutures at home. He was doing really well at that stage, and he was going from strength to strength and really sort of getting back to himself and wanting to play and do all the things that dogs should and would be doing. From thereafter, we kept him rested for the best part of sort of 4 to 6 weeks before gradually then getting him back into exercise. And as he got back into exercise, again, he showed that he was still keen to work, and PC Wardle was very, very keen to get him back into work, which he did. So a few months after surgery, later in the year, he was actually back in work doing what he loves best. And he did fantastically. I couldn't have asked for more in a patient.